I'm Jeannie from Tyrion's Landing, a podcast member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to the Starling Tribune, a podcast dedicated to the Arrow TV show.
This guy gets more airtime than the Kardashians, right?
This podcast is not produced or maintained by the CW, Warner Brothers Television, CTV, or DC Comics. All characters, situations, and stories are the properties of Time Warner. I am Oracle, and this is your Tribune.
And your reporters for this 20th episode of the third season of Arrow, titled Fallen. I am Wing, and with me is Neil.
The pit is real. I've seen it.
Chris.
Embrace the pain, for it is your soul finally being unburdened.
Stargate Pioneer.
I need your jet.
And if there's any kind of god, I have something alcoholic on my end. Which is not an actual, it's a quote from the thing, but it's actually true as well.
I like alcohol.
Do you have roofies in there too?
Well, I don't think I'm going to drop like in kind of a dream after to get kidnapped by a beautiful girl. No. This podcast is recorded on Friday, April 24th, 2015. A little reminder, we're just a few guys. Yes, we're all guys. That hasn't changed this week.
Last time I checked.
Yeah.
Surgeries in 2 weeks.
Okay, beautiful. So, and we discussed the TV show Arrow because, we're fam. Stargate Pioneers like to say that he's a sci-fi guy and he's not a comic book guy, even if he has a Marvel show, a DC show, and a sci-fi show. But okay.
Totally sci-fi guy.
Neil is back to his comic root in the last couple of years.
Yeah, back to comics with a vengeance.
Chris and myself are the resident comic geek.
We're talking about the devil from Hell's Kitchen here, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Guy in a red mask getting his ass kicked a lot. No, that's true. We got a guy with the green hood kicking ass.
Not green anymore.
Oh,
It's bedazzled though.
Ooh, I like bedazzling.
Dazzle. This episode is directed by Antonio Negret. Basically, kind of a newcomer. He only have one credit, and it's an episode of Forever. Kind of looked at Forever. It's an interesting
A
show.
lot of people like it. I wouldn't dismiss that show right now. I haven't seen it yet, but it's gotten a lot of great ratings.
What show is this that I should...
It's called
Describe it to
Forever. And
all right. It's got Mr. Fantastic, aka Horatio Hornblower, in it, so it's got some comic book cred.
Okay, sure. If you want to call those two Fantastic Four movie comic book creds, sure.
okay, if you look at the Live Plus 7-day ratings, Forever is kicking every other show's butt out there. It gets.
How have I not heard of it?
I know. The only reason I know about it is we do Live Plus 7-day show ratings on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it keeps coming up. Now, it doesn't get like the most ratings of all the top 25 shows during the week, but it is the top downloaded show or, delayed watched or whatever you want to call it, Live Plus 7-day rating show. I guess a lot of people will watch it.
It's like Highlander mixed with Elementary with no swords.
This is
that
not
work?
selling me the show whatsoever, though.
You shouldn't have said without swords. He would have been in a Highlander.
Well, Islander is great. The TV show was mad. So, okay. But you know what? Great for them. This is just not in my wheelhouse. Is there a superhero in there? No. Okay. I'm not going there. The episode
I'm too discriminating in my tastes now. I've got too much stuff to watch. So if there's no superheroes, it can just go away.
if it's not an adaptation of a comic book at this point, why would I watch?
Yeah, there you go. I'm with you, Wing. And I
Ouch.
feel dirty saying that.
It's just with the podcasting, I'm so limited on my time. It's like, oh, when am I going to have time to watch it? So I honestly don't know. I don't think I'm going to have time in the summer either.
No,
Yeah, man. My back catalog is huge. I've got to go through on Netflix and stuff like that.
Hey, I'm late on Agents of Shield. I'm late on Gotham at this point. I'm late. I'm still have 3 episodes of Constantine to watch.
I'm so late on Constantine, it got canceled.
That got canceled, but after watching it, damn, that was a good show.
So we're recording this on Friday, May 24th. Wing already said that, but next Friday, Avengers: Age of Ultron comes out. And John, you are going to be podcasting about that the next week, right?
Yeah, next Friday I can't be live because I have somebody else that will kick my ass to the moon if I'm not in the Avengers.
Okay, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your Legends podcast. The next week you'll be next Thursday.
Actually, next Thursday you'll get our magnific podcast about Hancock. But after that, we're doing a revisit of Avenger 1, and then we're gonna talk about Avengers: Age of Ultron. So you can hear all of me and the guys raving about Avengers 1 and me bitching about it again in 2 weeks. Isn't that great?
Okay, so you do have a couple weeks. I was going to say, before you see that, you should catch up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. up to the episode next Tuesday.
Yes, because I have that kind of time. I'm not working. Yes.
Well, you have a couple of weeks, and you don't have to get all the way caught up, just caught up to right before the movie.
I did 3 episodes last night and got caught up.
You did 3. How do you do an episode?
How do you do?
I watched 3 episodes.
Oh,
Get your
okay.
minds out of the gutter, guys.
So
It was not intended to be perverted.
And for those who don't know, if you come to gonnageek.com/live on Friday, usually around 9:15, we're live, and you can comment live on the episode right there, or you can do like someone that just texts me and said that I'm discriminating forever. So yeah, you can interact with us every Friday night, or almost every Friday night. Isn't that great?
It is. We have kind of a full chat room tonight, too.
Yeah, we have people. I like having people. And Black Adam is there. I like it.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I like it. And Black Adam is on his way to look like The Rock, so go, man. I like it.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
The Rock is cooking? Great. I love his cheat day. But I digress. The episode of this week is written by Wendy Miracle. That's kind of cute as a name. She's been producer and executive producer on 23 episodes, writer on 13 at this point. So, she knows her stuff.
She does.
Yeah, and the co-writer is Oscar Balderrama, which is a primary script coordinator in the past, but first Arrow. Oh, why did I go Flash?
Crossing the Streams.
Yeah, I was on
That's not necessarily crossing the streams, because that's the same universe. That's okay.
This is just crossing the street if you do that.
yeah, good point. But I was on the Flash podcast, the Crimson Comet, a couple of weeks ago, so maybe that's why I'm all like, oh dear God, what's happening?
Awesomeness. That's what was happening over there on Flash. If you haven't checked out the Crimson Comet podcast before, you definitely should.
Yes. But this week we're here to talk, and spoiler alert, if you're not used to our show, we'll discuss this show in great detail. So, Ollie finally sealed the deal with, what's her name?
Felicity? The Oracle?
Felicity?
Emily
I only
Bettlicker?
had Oracle in my head. God damn it. But with Felicity, and we got a, kind of braless scene, which was...
It was
Are we
totally
perving out to
braless.
start the show?
Totally
Yes.
braless.
We start with
that
perving
was
out.
braless, yeah.
Yeah, I was jealous.
I mean, they made a point of her taking off her bra. It wasn't just like, oh, all of a sudden she's braless. It was like, oh, let me get it. And, they actually kind of did it. Took off the bra and then did it.
Yeah, and then she slipped some roofie in his alcohol and kidnapped him. I was like, that's my girl. I like girl that takes control.
She's well, she didn't have a plan, but she got that far.
No, she didn't have a plan.
She didn't even know what that powder was going to do, she admits, when she puts it in the drink. That could have done anything.
That could have killed him.
Yeah.
As she knows. But okay, sure. But This whole episode is about people not really having plans. Let's face it. Ollie shows up there with everyone. Not by himself. With everyone.
Except Laurel.
Well, maybe it's better that way.
Yeah, you don't take her to the League of Assassins. She's outclassed.
Yeah, and
Sorry, I just had to get my Laurel hate out of the way, guys. I'm good now.
and she might be sleeping with the other sister, daughter of Ra's al Ghul. So maybe you don't want to bring your new girlfriend there because the last one did not end well. I'm just saying.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like the idea.
Well, yeah, sure. The other thing, we finally got a real Lazarus Pit scene.
Yeah.
And-
The magical hot tub.
Yeah.
It's a hot tub time machine?
No, it's a hot tub revival pool.
It
Can't-
reminded me a little bit of Helix when she jumped out of there and growled.
That jumping out was pretty awesome.
And that's pretty accurate. If you're a comic book fan, that is pretty accurate. People get there like confused, mad, they want to kill people. Kind of super human for a second. Do you think
She seemed to calm down pretty well though by the end of it and start to reconcile.
About 3 days, yeah. Like, Daddy, to get out of my condo.
I think that's not done yet. I think she's still gonna have problems dealing with the Lazarus stuff because usually characters have for months up to years to get back on track. But I can see her like learning faster now, being stronger and all that stuff, which would bring her way faster to Speedy than I would say Arsenal got to being Speedy at that point.
Well, she's going to be the sidekick next year. Let's be honest. We all see this coming.
Thea?
Yeah, Thea's now Mia.
Yes. She's Mia Dearden.
Well, the mother was called Jordan, I think.
That was her maiden name. That's correct.
Yeah, and I can see her like saying, "I'm not Tia anymore since I die," and blah blah blah, whatever. I just can't wait to see which iteration of the suit they're gonna give her.
She's going to have to suit up.
Well,
Everyone gets to suit up but Diggle. That's the problem here, guys.
Dude can carry Ollie, though. That was a heavy sack of potatoes over his shoulder.
Dude can also fire an unsilenced pistol in Nanda Parbat while trying to make a stealthy escape.
I know.
Yeah.
I
I
thought
was
of
like,
that
this
too.
kind
I'm
of
like,
defeats the purpose.
what?
Yeah, in those stone chambers, you can just imagine that thing is going off like a firecracker.
Felicity got her kill on, though.
or kill.
Yeah, she took that spear and knocked that guy down.
Well, yeah, she did. Well, Felicity's starting to be badass.
I mean, I think that's the first punches in anger she's thrown.
Yeah. Another great example of the inverse ninja law. The more ninjas you have, the less effective they are.
well, they are supposed to be invisible. As soon as they're visible, you can just like pick them up like apples. It's easy.
They gave up awful easy. I mean, of course, he said what he said, and then they're like, okay, but he could have just ran for it. And then they would
Oliver's
all
a man of honor.
and then they would all been dead. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of odd.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. How many did they kill? Because Raish tells him like X number of
3, wasn't it?
just 3.
It was just 3. They wounded a bunch of others. And
It's only
side
a
note,
flesh
looking in the
wound.
chat room real quick, Adam brought
Yeah.
up a good point for Thea's potential costume. Probably shows her midriff.
Yes, please.
Does she have a pierced belly button, by the way?
I don't know.
I
She's
don't
pretty
know.
hot.
We'll find out sooner or later.
When she gets that new costume, I'm sure we'll find out.
Yes.
And then I'll make all sorts of jokes about how a badass fighter has a navel ring. That's just too easy to pluck out.
Yeah. To be honest, though, the Speedy costume does not have a, how do you call that, a belly window, as a lot of superheroes do have one, but this
Or a
one does
boob
not.
window.
Well, no window at all.
Well, hang on. If she has to show her midriff, we have just narrowed it down. She has to go with the Artemis costume from Young Justice.
Ooh,
yes.
We're done.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
For some reason, I'm thinking we're gonna get the black and yellow costume because that's the costume that has been trending recently in the comic.
It would have to be a darker yellow then, because if you think about it, even Roy's colors were muted red. They weren't a brighter red. So they could go with the black, and then they'd have a darker yellow of some kind, I'm guessing.
Yeah, sure. For those who are live with us and wondering, I'm going to put a link in the chat of an image of what I'm thinking of. And I really like the costume because instead of having, like we said, the boob window, it's like an arrow on the chest. And it's basically a black onesie with a yellow hood. That would work well with the concept of the green hood of Green Arrow, actually, in this show.
I'm captivated by the abs in that picture. Those abs are awesome.
It's a drawing, man. It's a drawing.
I know, but whatever. You put a picture out there for me to drool over, and I'm drooling, and then you say bad boy. I mean, come on, don't put the stuff in there if you don't want me to drool.
Okay, if you want to drool because Comic-Con season is coming soon, here's a picture of somebody that is cosplaying it, which is cosplaying it pretty well as well. So maybe you can have fun with that one. Then you can drool. I'm not sure you have the right to drool after looking at this picture, but sure.
That's pretty awesome. She's good.
I'm not sure that's 18, but yes, that's pretty awesome as a costume. The point is, I love the Speedy costume way more than what they used to do with the Roy Speedy costume, which was not that great. So I have hope. And I'm really hoping
you
they're
have
not
hope,
going to go.
Or you have hope.
Hope.
Okay.
I have hope, and I'm hoping they're not going with the red version because the red version makes no sense. Take everything that you see in black and put it in bright red. So,
yeah, I'm still going Artemis. It's in the chat window.
Yeah, Artemis is. Have you seen Young Justice? Yes, that's Young Justice Artemis.
I don't like the mask, but the rest of the costume is awesome, especially the little armband.
Well, she's an archer. The armband makes so much sense.
Why? What do you need the armband for? Recoil?
Yeah. Sometimes the how do you call that? The string does not go exactly where you want to go and where you want it to go, or if you go too fast, and it can actually clip your arm. So that's why you wear an armband as an archer usually.
She's not a blonde though, so geez.
She's not Artemis. She's Speedy technically. So.
And that quiver has more than 9 arrows in it. Hawkeye.
Yes.
Now are we crossing the stream?
Now we cross the streams. Yeah.
Now we cross the stream. Okay. But if we go back to this episode, and I'll be honest, it's easy to go a little bit everywhere in this episode because basically nothing happened in this episode. She got.
What do you mean nothing happened?
Everything we expected to happen happened.
Oh,
Let's put it that way.
Felicity and Oliver get it on. She dumps what's his face. It takes his jet and dumps him. I mean, come on. What does the guy got to do?
Has she dumped him?
He did. Yeah, right before they left.
That was an easy dump, I find.
If she goes back to Ray Palmer now, I mean, he knows he's leftovers. So I don't think she would do that to him.
But even if she dumped me, if she comes back to me, I'm at least going to have a night of fun before sending her back.
But see, Oliver told her to live her life and have fun and be happy. So that gives her the mental whatever to go back to him. But you're right. I mean, if I was him, I'd be like, yeah, okay. I guess I'm not Oliver. I can fly.
I'm the consolation prize. That's awesome.
Yeah, and you could kind of see the heartbreak on his face when he realized that to begin with in this episode, that she loves him, and that's why she didn't say back that she loved him.
Yeah. It's just weird because if you watched The Flash last week, not this week, she seemed like, oh, this is my boyfriend. And
I think she was overcompensating a little bit because of everything that's been going on.
Okay, so guest 445 in the chat says, is there a country superhero? Ray sounds well set up for a country song. Yes, he does.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because they set him up at first as this business guy that was kind of serious, a little bit, I would say, obsessed and everything. And then they turned him into the male Felicity. They did. In the last 3 weeks, that's what they did. Now that he's male Felicity, they're like, okay, we don't need Felicity anymore. Go get your own show.
Well, it's like brother and sister or something. There were several comments made. Oliver made the comment. A couple of people in Central City made the comment. So yeah,
It's like two of them. They were. I know I'm gonna receive some eight mail for that. It's Nightwing at gonnageek.com. But she fits way better with Ray Palmer than Oliver Queen.
yeah. Now she does at least. Yeah. Mama's
Oliver-
been away from a keyboard too long. That was funny.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
That was in the Flash episode, by the way, for those listening.
But if I resume this episode, Tia gets kind of killed. They decide to bring her to Nanda Parbat to make the deal. He sleeps with Felicity. They try to get him out. They don't. So he actually makes the deal. And yeah, that's the episode. That's the old narrative.
Well, there was the flashbacks too.
Yeah.
And now you understand why the kid's going to die.
Well, and this is the first episode they actually confirmed that Masao was dead. Not Masao, Akio
Yeah.
was dead. We've always thought he was, but this time he actually came out and said it. Masao said his son is dead.
Do you think they Lazarus pitted him and that's why Masao's with the league?
No.
No, because he says at some point, like you've got something that was denied to me, or some kind of phrase like this.
True.
But
Raz also has that line to Felicity, and Matt Nable friggin' nails it. The whole story of how he became Ra's al Ghul and left his family behind and things like that. And he goes, "You have the chance to say you love him, to say goodbye." And I was like, holy crap, you're really good.
this actor is playing the Ra's al Ghul that I'm seeing when I read a comic. I'll be honest. He's pretty accurate to what I've always imagined. Not as determined. I think the Batman Ra's al Ghul is a little bit more determined than this guy, because this guy seems to be bored to be Ra's al Ghul. He wants Oliver Queen to take his place. He wants to go away and be like, "Can I die now?"
I love the way he's manipulating everybody. He's always in control. Everybody's doing exactly what he wants to do according to his time frame, and he's not in a rush. That's what I love about Ra's.
That's a good point.
He has all the time in the world. Even if the pit's not working as effectively on him, he still has time for his plans to come to order.
Adam is asking that if the daughter that he left, what's the exact quote? Was his daughter who had to leave to join the league, Talia, maybe? I don't think so. I think that's really like his old family.
That was his old family before he became Ra's al Ghul, I believe.
Yeah, and I think Talia is still somewhere in the card, but they're never going to mention it on that show.
Yeah. We're being blocked by Warner Brothers quite a bit. I'm not enjoying it.
Well, who cares at this point? Because they took Nissa, which is a second-rate character in the comic, and made her basically Talia. Let's be honest.
Okay. So they've done a lot of good things, granted, but if they're going to keep taking some of that stuff away from us, the stuff that they've already given to us, like Waller or the Suicide Squad or whatever, Roy's gone. So I want some of that stuff back, but I don't know.
Yeah, I could argue the point that when you get limitation, you need to get more creative. And I like the fact that next year there's this big rumor that we're going to have Ive instead of Argus, and that Felicity's father might be, an intricate part of Hive. So I'm interested to see that, because the only episode that we got, and that was a Flash crossover episode that we got with a possible Ive character, was pretty interesting. So what was her name? It's Bug-Eye Bandit, I think. It's not Queen Bee. That was Bug-Eye Bandit.
Cisco comes up with all the names, man.
Yeah, or Ray Palmer, because he got it with the names.
He got
it. Yeah. I love Cisco.
Adam in the chat just popped up and he said, "Is Felicity's father potentially the calculator?"
Well, I hope so. That would be great.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that would be all kind of awesome.
Once again, Adam pulls one out. Adam and Neil are just awesome. The rest of us are just like, okay. But Adam and Neil, they got it going on.
We're along for the ride.
Yeah, hardly.
Yeah, the Oracle anyway is out of the picture for Felicity right now, since she's going to be in the Titan show. So
Well, and that's a question. I mean, you guys may have touched on this last week, but do we think that that Roy is heading off to the Titan show? Is there any chance? I know there hasn't been anything in the media, but that'd be kind of awesome.
Right now, the rumor is that one of the reasons why he did not renew his contract after his 2 years is that he has another show in the pipeline, and they're really coy about saying what it is.
They haven't said anything, but he's supposedly been offered work as a lead role, and he has also been getting into movies because he's going to be in San Andreas with The Rock this summer. So his career trajectory has changed a little from being the sidekick in Arrow.
What is he going to play in San Andreas? One of Rock's legs?
I don't know. I have no idea what his role is in there, but that's what the executive
He's
producer
got to be like a quarter of The Rock's size in height and weight.
Yeah, but ladies love The Rock, and ladies evidently loved Roy Harper too. Let's be honest here.
Well, because I mean, it's on a CW show. The Rock's not going to be on a CW show.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying that's what they're saying has happened. Is he's gotten better opportunities, and there's no hard feelings or anything, and he might be coming back in guest appearances. In fact, they've said he's coming back for one episode in the back end of season 3.
Yeah, he's coming back in the finale of this one, and he has he signed for 2 episodes for season 4 or something like that.
I was going to say one more episode. We only have 3 left.
Yeah, but like I said, he's supposed to be in a couple of episodes in season 4. If I got my dream, he would be the co-lead of the Titan show. But because let's face it, if we had Roy Harper and Nightwing on a Titan show, you got a show. Just saying.
Got your show.
You got a show. No, seriously, the interplay between these 2 characters is probably the most interesting thing that came out of the more adult Titan title before they went back to Teen Titan. And then the Outsider comic was great because of the interplay between Roy Harper and Dick Grayson. So if they could bring that to the screen, that would be great. The only thing is that I don't see them arguing about their conquest on TV.
I have an argument. Malcolm, come on. I mean, John Barrowman, great actor, but really his character, he acted a little bit like Roy would have during the episode. Like, oh, let's just take her to Starling or Central City. So, the Star Labs. That's not something that John Barrowman would say or Malcolm Merlin would say. That's something Roy Harper would say.
I have severe problems with how Malcolm Merlin is treated in this episode. This is all his fault, and everyone is pretty accepting of, oh, come along with us. Take care of Thea. You're part of the group, even though we don't like you that much. This is your damn fault. You're a villain. How do you redeem yourself from all of the crap you've done? I have issues.
What was it, 503?
Yeah, something like that. Plus all the people he killed as a member of the League. Plus how he manipulated his own daughter into this chain of events that got her killed and made Oliver become the new Ra's al Ghul. I have severe problems with the way they're just kind of like, especially when you remember that Felicity and Diggle and Roy were very angry that Ollie wanted to work with him earlier this season. Now it's like, come along with us. And that bothers me.
I agree. That bothers me too.
Yeah, everyone forgot about it this episode. It's like for some reason there's been a redemption arc and nobody's noticed it.
But there hasn't been a redemption arc.
No, yeah. It's Felicity had a quote like, we'll get this done. Oliver, Diggle, me, and God help me, Malcolm. Yeah, the direct quote here, I've got it up. Me and John and God help me, Malcolm are not going to let this happen. So Felicity is at least still on that. And she just knows that they're using him. But the rest of them are like, hey, buddy, let's go on a plane ride.
I'm just saying that next week, because we've seen like the trailer and everything, and it seems that Oliver is going to get kind of brainwashed and become the bad guy for a little while. That would be funny to see like Nyssa, Malcolm, and the Black Canary working together. That would be really funny. Come on.
Add in Quentin, and that would be hilarious.
Yeah, Quentin was even better. I'm glad he was on The Flash this week, where he was slightly likable compared to being completely unlikable on
Arrow on every other Arrow episode this season. Yeah.
Did they pay him for 2 shows or they pay him only for one? Because if you look at the screen time he had in this one and in the Flash episode, it's almost what he used to have on the.
I think there's an Actors Guild issue that if you're in a separate show, you need to be paid.
I know, but see my point here.
I did like the crossover. I watched half of the second crossover episode. So the first one was Felicity and Ray Palmer coming to Central City. Second one was
Joe going to Starling to
Yeah,
work with
with Ci-
Quentin.
with Cisco. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we have to mention that Cisco, biggest nerd in the world, is gonna work his ass off in a hotel room on a little Sonic thing just to get a picture of him with the Black Canary. Come on, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd do
Yeah.
that.
Have- and now, not to do too much Flash, but have you guys been following Cisco's blog on Tumblr?
No.
No, it is awesome. He talks about how he goes through trying to feed all the prisoners they have. How he used one of Bug-Eyed Bandit's bees to try to deliver vitamins to the Mist. And it's worth it. And it answers the question of how do they feed everybody down in the tunnels.
I see.
That's pretty cool. And I think we can do some Flash when they do some crossover like this. And you know what? One of the things I like about the crossover, it's not all about Stephen Amell. It's about all the other characters as well. This makes it interesting for me. I like having the crossover just with Quentin and Laurel. That worked for me really well.
Yeah, they're more likable when they're not on their own show.
Maybe they should bring Laurel into, what is it, Legends of Tomorrow? And yes, we are going to sue. I'm just saying. But that would kind of be
Well,
great.
I mean, am I wrong that they were generally much more pleasant characters when they weren't on their own show and more likable?
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
I was just trying to not answer your question.
I'm not trying to hate. It's more of an observation.
Yeah. I think Laurel works better when she's not with the Liver Queen at the moment. So maybe they should take time to.
Well, okay. So you brought that up, but Felicity going to tell Laurel about Oliver, that was so emotional, and at the same time, it was so awkward. It's like, okay, so you're both his girlfriends, and you're gonna cry together. I don't understand what's going on. Why did
But that's
Felicity?
how they could get her in the show.
I
Yeah,
guess.
And that's what Laurel has always done. I mean, you both his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend was your sister. Laurel's always been like the second string, so it's kind of weird to think that technically it's his future wife.
Yeah, I think the plan is for them to eventually go there or start going that way. But in the meantime, it's like, why did Felicity have to be the one to go tell Laurel? Why couldn't it have been Diggle?
Because Diggle doesn't have a relationship with Felicity. Not with Felicity, but with Laurel that much.
You're gonna start a new shipping right there, Diggle and Felicity.
Well, I'm at this point. I'll be honest. I'm hoping that they find something for Diggle, because the more character they introduce in that show, the character that is the easiest to
Dude,
put.
I don't know who else could have carried Stephen Amell down that hallway. No
Yeah,
idea.
I thought that too, because he put him on his shoulder, and I'm like, this dude is like 200 pounds of freaking muscle. No.
Yeah, I know.
Just
Like, you're not moving that fast with that much weight on your shoulder.
Uh-huh. They didn't get that far in that tunnel, though. Just saying.
We don't know how far, but they did get a little bit down. Anyway.
Well, ninjas came out from everywhere in like 2 minutes, so just saying.
All right.
Now, since they wouldn't have gotten there without Maseo, that's a perfect chance to drop back into the flashbacks and talk about Katana, who I think was one of the high points of the flashbacks this week.
Oh, absolutely. She knew what was going on the whole time.
I think I want Katana to be Katana in the present now a little bit more. But I don't know. I had some problem with the flashback. I mean, people with machine guns shooting at people, car surfing and not hitting anything. Seriously? Come on.
Did the windshield even break?
No! This is a bulletproof car that they stole. They got really lucky.
Well, who knows how many bulletproof cars there are in Hong Kong? Maybe you need them.
Well, and they were at the military compound, so maybe they took an undercover car, or are we reaching right now?
Yeah, we are, because I have a friend in Hong Kong, and you don't need a bulletproof car. Actually, you need a scooter, not a car. I'm just saying.
Well, you need a bulletproof car to run into all the scooters.
Well, and he did Tokyo Drift around that corner to come up to the deuce and a half. So that was quite nice.
He did. Did you stole that car? I borrowed it.
Are you really going to ask that in the middle of trying to stop a huge plague or whatever the thing is? I mean, come on. Okay, just take the car.
Yeah, you borrow it. I like to borrow it in TV shows or movies. If you really need it, it's okay to just steal a car.
I do it all the time. Like I'm downtown and I'm like, oh man, my car is like 6 blocks away. You know what? I'll just take another car and get to my car. No.
You go all rig and you get in the middle of the street with your badge and you're like, I need this car. And people just leave their car right away.
I've done that before. Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I should try to do that.
All
I
right.
think my fake Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. badge could work. Like, I need this car. I'm an Avengers.
You have never mind. That's a discussion for another podcast. So, what else have we not talked about in this episode? Neil, do you have anything else?
The only thing, and it's not really a plot element, but SP, when you were talking about, or I think it was Wing, where you were mentioning the director is a relative newcomer, it made me go back and say, all right, why did this guy get this directing gig? And if I take a look at some of the indie stuff he did, it was all really well shot. So on my rewatch, I went back and I took a look at how they shot and how they lit this episode. And I got to say, Nanda Parbat was beautiful. And the way they shot it and lit it with all the candles, really soft lighting and really close shots on all the characters to really emphasize the emotions and what they were going through, it really had the desired effect. So I got to give it to the director on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I think the visual was really, really good. I would say that. And again, I love this show, but this is not the best episode we've got in the last couple of weeks. This is a setup episode mostly where not that much happened. He did the best. He got the best of it because it does look beautiful. The quote unquote sex scene is amazingly shot. I really loved it with all the candles and everything. The lighting was perfect. The choice of shot, the choice in editing were really good. So the director did a really, really good job on that. He just didn't get the best grip of the season.
Was this the first bedroom scene that we've had since Oliver and Laurel? Got it? No, Ray and
No,
Felicity.
you had Ray and Felicity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And didn't we have Ollie and Roshev as well?
Yeah. And we had Ollie and Canary original.
Roy and Thea, Adam brings up in the chat room as well.
Oh, just recently, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, people have sex a lot in this show. Okay.
Welcome to the CW.
I would, if I have choice of all of these though, and I know I'm gonna get the controversial choice, but I think I'm taking Isabelle Rochev. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Over Felicity?
Yeah, she's more my style.
Okay.
She can kill you with her mind. Come on.
She's still
Wrong
healing
show.
up from that van strike to her spine.
Well, she's still got Mirakuru. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
Did you imagine the kind of sporty sex you're gonna have with that Mirakuru in her blood? Dear God.
I'd be worried about clamping something off.
We'll be okay.
Okay.
I can live with that.
Adam reminds us that Nissa snapped her neck, which is true. But she can get better from that.
Yeah, well, Mirakuru does crazy thing. According to Slade, I mean, he was like a moosh of flesh when he got to the beach, and everything healed except the eye. So, I'm just saying.
All right. Chris, do you have anything else for the episode?
I can't think of anything.
Wing,
Like I
are
said-
you out or you got more?
No, like I said, I'm out. I can't say that was a bad episode, but from everything we had in the last couple of weeks, that was one of the episodes that was. It's setup. It's a lot of setup, and we go a lot through the Batman arc. But at least this week, we had the big bad Batman homage. But Batman never accepted the role of Ra's al Ghul, and this is where this is taking us for a spin. So I can't wait for next week episode. Actually,
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
has
so-
got me really hyped for what's going forward. It did its part to set a bunch of things up. Everything we expected to happen happened, with the exception of Felicity and Ollie hooking up. I don't think we truly expected that, even though we'd seen the promos that it might happen. But I always thought it was like a dream or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you don't want to be spoiled on this show, do not look up the next 3 episode titles.
Yeah.
well, the next episode title is kind of nice, which is not just a name, so it's not really spoilery. Yet.
Right. But the last one is definitely spoilery. We shouldn't talk about that on the cast
Yeah.
until we get there.
Yeah. So the next week episode is called Al Sahim, which is kind of his name, and I like the fact that when you translate it, it means Green Arrow.
Yeah, I did like that his name is Arrow.
Yeah.
That was nice.
I really like that too.
All right, if we're out of the episode, maybe we should talk a little news.
Ooh, we have news. News time.
Wrong show, Wing.
And really wrong octave. You missed it by like 4.
News time.
It sounded more like news.
Yeah, that's been a while since I've heard that.
Long time. All right, so who put this Forbes article in here?
Yo, mama.
Wait, Steven's not on
Also
the
the wrong
podcast. Yeah. That's a staple of the Gonna Geek main podcast on the Gonna Geek Network.
I'm
And-
mature, guys.
yeah, right. Okay, seriously, there's a Forbes article, Quentin Lance's ruining Arrow.
I have no idea. It wasn't me.
Me neither.
Okay.
So
It wasn't me, but I read it.
I'm gonna guess it was Jay, and we would like to say hi to Jay. That's in a con right now.
Yeah.
So
Getting some awesome audio. Way to go,
Yeah.
buddy. I actually think we talked about that last week.
So that's last week's news.
I think it is. So, did anybody put in any news this week, by the way?
Didn't have any news this week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
I put in a couple articles that this week it was actually the writer for this week's show, Wendy Miracle, was actually promoted to co-showrunner with
Yes.
Mark Guggenheim. She stepped up from co-executive producer, and I think given everything that's going on with the DC universe in TV, they're starting to spread the Arrow writers and producers and directors a bit thin. So they're going to take a few chances on who they promote, who they let direct, and run with a few of these stories.
Yeah, over in Marvel, Jeff Loeb still has a stick for all the TV stuff. Of course, Kevin Feige is still running the ship until 2018, 2019, something like that. But Jeff Loeb is still firmly in Planet. Now, of course, they only have the one show and the one Netflix show, but I misspoke. They had 2 shows with Agent Carter. But yeah, I would agree that the talent pool is going to get real thin real quick, especially if all the like 6 or 7 or whatever shows that they're talking about are going to be on the air next year. So somebody like Wendy Miracle, we've actually talked about her before on the podcast a few weeks ago on an episode that she wrote. So I was pleased back then.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
All right.
So what else you got, Neil?
The other one is that because there's a lot of changes after this, Mark Guggenheim actually did a Q&A with the press to talk about how they actually dealt with the Lazarus Pit, what it's going to mean for some of the direction of the show. There's a lot of good stuff in there. So if this makes it into the show notes, I really encourage people to go and read what Mark Guggenheim's saying about where they're going to take it and what Ollie joining the League of Assassins means for the direction.
I hope they have a good direction in all this because let's face it, I think at this point we're almost done with season 3. Their best season was season 2, and a big part of it, and I'm sorry to say that I think they made a mistake there. Slade was really good. I miss that actor so much.
I do too.
Yep.
He was really, really stealing the show for so much of the season. And as much as I appreciate that they brought Ra's al Ghul and all that, for me, this season is the Batman season. A lot. And I would have liked them to go a little bit more Green Arrow. I had a lot of expectation when they brought Brick, which Brick is one of the staple villain of Green Arrow, and they used them for like 2 episodes or stuff like that. They did great arc with arsenal, and then they took him away from us, and they killed one of my favorite character in the show on the first episode, which is the original Canary. It's been a tough season. Is it a bad season? Not at all. This is still a great show. But if I have to compare season by season, I would say that season 2 was at this point, and we haven't seen the finale. Maybe the next 3 episodes are going to change all our mind, but at this point, I think season 2 nailed it a little bit better. As The Flash this season is stellar. They had a beautiful first season. So I hope they kind of learn from the mistake of season 3 and get back on the same kind of vibe that season 2 had, if that makes sense.
Yep.
On the other end, Stephen Amell acting is better every week. I think he's playing a really good Oliver Queen at this point, and he shows that he has acting chop, and I think that's why he's starting to have some roles on the movies. I know it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, but still, he's starting to have some roles in the movies.
Okay, so I've enjoyed Oliver Queen's arc so far, and it's not just his acting arc, it's really a personal arc, because his character is changing as you go along. And as we've talked about before, Wing, he is actually playing, in some cases, 4 or 5 different characters, depending on how you look at things in the flashbacks in real time and so on and so forth. So okay, he might not have been the best actor around. You're not going to get the best actor around for a CW superhero show, at least not in this day and age. So what they got was amazing. He did have his shirt off in this scene, in this show. He still got it. So that's pretty cool.
I would argue that he's playing less and less different characters now. Yeah, his flashback character is getting more and more to what he was in season 1.
Yep.
And even as Oliver Queen, since he's been like authored and everything, he's kind of playing one man. Less Oliver Queen and the Arrow. He's now just like the man in the costume and the man not in the costume. But the transition between all those different layers of characters have been taken away from him in this season, and maybe this is one of the reasons why I miss season 2 that much.
Well, I mean, they mentioned it in this episode. He doesn't know who he is. That's been the big theme of this entire season. So he's still finding himself.
Yeah, okay. I see your point. I'll be honest. I don't totally agree, but I see your point.
Yeah, and Wing, I've got it. Like personally, I totally agree with you that Oliver Queen and Green Arrow has so many great storylines, which are quintessentially Green Arrow. But I've talked to a couple of coworkers that have no comic background, and they're hooked. They don't know where the League storyline's going. They didn't expect that Ra's al Ghul would make an offer to Ollie to become the new Ra's al Ghul. They were caught off guard by the whole revelation of the Lazarus Pit. And we forget that, being immersed in this genre, that for a lot of people, this is new. This is edgy.
Yeah, we do, because we're so much immersed in comic lore at this point. But with the kind of numbers they're pulling, do you think there's a lot of people that are not like at least comic enthusiasts that like the show? Is it a 50-50 or we're talking a 30-70%?
I can only talk from my experience on this one. And the only 2 other people in my office that watch the show are not comic enthusiasts.
Okay, fair. Yeah, that's true. That in my office is mostly girls, and they're like, "Oh, we don't see him with his shirt off and off." They make me think of SP at this point.
Oh yeah, I've got some gym stories too that haven't been told. We'll save that for another podcast, though.
Are we starting a gym podcast now?
No, remember the listeners wouldn't remember because you haven't released those podcasts, but during the season 1 and season 2 rewatch for you, as I was going through it the first time, talk about all those gym stories.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. The listeners don't, though, because they haven't heard those podcasts yet.
Well, they've heard almost season 1 entirely, so.
Okay. So DC checklist. We have a very limited checklist this time. And
he's Batman.
Yeah. One big Batman homage, and that's fitting with the Batman versus Superman trailer coming out.
Yeah. Can I geek out? Dear God, this trailer.
What have you been doing so far?
Yeah.
I'm watching it 2-3 times a day, minimum. I love this trailer. I know right now the trendy take on the internet is to really hate the Batman Superman trailer. I know it's a trendy thing to love the Star Wars one and hate the Superman Batman. I love the way they're going with the Superman Batman trailer. I love that it's edgy, it's dark. We're going down a path that has never been even tried before in a Superman quote unquote movie. So I'm really, really, really
Okay,
loving
Wing,
it.
I'll argue with one statement that you said there, that it's trendy to do it. It's not trendy for me. I actually prefer the Star Wars trailer. For one thing, I'm a sci-fi guy, not a comic guy, so there's that. But for another thing, it's like you were saying, the darkness or whatever. It's just not my cup of tea, so to speak. And I think that's where a lot of people are diversifying between the two, saying that the Star Wars trailer was better because in general, Star Wars isn't as dark, even though you have the dark side and everything. So it was light. You had fights, you had the Millennium Falcon, stuff like that. And then Batman versus Superman, you had, I'm Batman. I mean, okay.
Yeah. Okay, but I don't know. It's I like these DC not doing the Marvel thing,
Yeah.
not doing the lighty thing, doing their more like quote unquote realistic thing on it. And let's face it, if somebody would be Superman tomorrow morning, people would not be like, "Oh, he's here to save my kitty and to help us," and blah blah blah. There would be all the crazy religious people and the people that think he's a god and the people that would hate him because he has that powers and all that stuff. Which this trailer seems to say that this is where they're going. This is what they're trying to do. I love the idea of trying to do that in a movie. I never thought I would see a Superman quote unquote movie with these idea in. So to bring that is something that I find interesting, different, and let's face it, it looks really good. Every shot we've seen at this point looks beautiful. Zack Snyder is bringing the pretty.
Wing, it's always Zack Snyder. It's always all flash, no substance.
It's just very dark.
Yeah. So what I just posted in the chat, some people actually went through Man of Steel, changed the tinting and changed the colors.
Yeah.
And they got rid of the filters.
Mhm.
And if you take a look at the majority of the comments on Comic Book Movie, people like it. Superman looks like Superman, and
Do you mean people don't like it when the things they know and love are dramatically changed?
go figure.
I would agree with that
Yeah.
because I'm in yellow spandex. Look at X-Men. Nothing is like it in the comic. Character have different age. They come in different order. They're not the same. This is not the same people that have started the team. It's really different, but it's really well done, and people loved it. Except when it's X-Men Origin Wolverine. But my point is that you can change it and make people like it.
See, I'll agree that I actually like the costume. I like the coloring because of how they started it out on Krypton. That whole Krypton vibe, you get that with the suit that he's got on, even though it's subdued and it's not as bright colored, whatever. You just get that he's from this other place.
So next year we can expect a podcast, Legends of Krypton, on the Guinea Game Network that's going to be produced by Stargate Pioneer.
You keep saying this stuff. No, I don't have time. If you're listening to this podcast and you're wishing to podcast, we have a lot of opportunity coming up. So yeah, just get a hold of us. Get a hold of me, Stargate Pioneer at GonnaGeek.com. You can email the network owner, Steven at GonnaGeek.com. Catch us on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and just let us know you're interested, and then we'll keep you in mind as projects emerge.
And me and Neil are saying, "Go Titans!"
Go Titans.
Just saying.
There you go. All right, there's another item in the checklist.
Yes.
Yeah, this is following the Batman homage, theme that we have here. That bringing somebody out of the Lazarus Pit is traditionally reserved for Damian Wayne or other Batman characters. So it kind of lends more to that Batman theme we were talking about.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That is a good point. But since Batman is not in the universe, they're trying to. Well, actually, Tia could be seen as the Damian Wayne of the Arrowverse.
especially if she goes dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
And remember, this used to be the Bat checklist.
It's used to, yeah. I would love to see Damian Wayne in some capacity or some kind of version of Damian Wayne. That would be really, really, really great. I'm just saying. But if they take Mia Driden and do that, that could work with it. I could actually go with it. Because they're not gonna do the Mia Driden I was a prostitute with HIV. I don't think they're gonna go there.
I'm so glad I have that recorded.
Well, that's the character. That is the actual character in the comic at the moment. So I don't think they're going to go there. So if they go the more darker way with this character, a little bit a la Damian Wayne, I think that could actually work since they're taking clearly pages of the Batman playbook. That could work. Yeah. But okay, let's face it. This show is getting dark. People are getting killed left and right, and they're getting revived. You know, a show where people are not getting revived,
but they're getting killed.
Yes, Game of Thrones. And if you're a fan of Game of Thrones, we have Tyrion's Landing. Tyrion's Landing is a new show on the Gonna Geek Network. They've been going for a while now. They're at episode 81, and they're talking about the House of Black and White. Do colossal brown statue have giants brown dung? I'm not sure I want that answer.
Do colossal bronze statues have giant bronze I can't say it either. Do colossal bronze statues have giant bronze dongs?
Yeah. You see, that's a question you need answer. And if you want the answer to that question, you need to go on the Gonna Geek Network and listen to Tyrion's Landing. These girls will talk about crazy stuff on Games of Thrones. And you know what? Their show is amazing. It's been going for a while. We've talked about it in Legends for years. And all I have to say is Momoa. Is dead on that show. Aquaman. Water Guy. King of Atlantis.
I was going to say, there's Stargate Atlantis too.
Yeah. So check on the Gonna Geek Network and go get Tyrion's Landing. Just saying.
So next week we have season 3, episode 21. Al Sahim.
Oh, Sahim.
So much H in there. I hate them.
Well done.
You hate or ate them?
I hate them.
I saw that, so I stepped in.
Well done.
Yeah, and guys, before we sign off here, you know, given that this episode was a lot of setup and we had to get through it to move the story forward, just think about this. This wasn't the story that we wanted, but it was the story that we needed.
Oh, nice poll, sir. Yeah, that's why we have Neil right now filling in whenever somebody's missing, which is every week.
Well, there's 4 of us. We got a lot going on. It's Friday night.
I love it.
All right.
So if you want to leave us feedback or talk to us, I don't know why you would, but that would be great. You can go on GonnaGeekNetwork.com and check out our forums, check out our Facebook or everything. We're everywhere. So all our contact information are on GonnaGeek.com. The best way to contact us is 612-888-CAVE. It's 612-888-2283. We love voicemail. Guys, do we love voicemail?
We do.
Love it. I get to press the button.
Yes. So send us a voicemail. Tell us what you think, and make sure you dial the right number, because if not, you're leaving a message to somebody that's going to be like, "What? I like this show, but why do they talk about it about this?" So yes, it's 612-888-2283. And yeah, we don't have a lot of geek back this week, so please, guys, rise up to the occasion and leave us some geek back. Come on. Any last words at Roundtable Nerd?
Lazarus.
At Stargate Pioneer?
Shirtless.
At Neil Isn't Witty?
Pitt.
And I'm going to go with Hal Sahim with H's. So this has been...
This was the Starling Tribune. You can leave us feedback at GonnaGeek.com or check out our archive at StarlingTribune.com. Visit GonnaGeek.com for more podcasts. Music by Kevin MacLeod can be found at incompetech.com. This podcast is not produced or maintained by the CW, Warner Brothers Television, CTV, or DC Comics. All characters, stories, and situations are the properties of Time Warner. No infringement is intended. We will see you for the next episode of CW's Arrow.